first full month was just going through all the lectures from beginning to end, making good notes, because things were explained very well. If you have a very good understanding of what the theory is, the questions are
Yes.
like 2 steps of solving. And
Yeah,
this
maybe 3 steps. Hi, Daksha. Thanks a lot for taking time out of your busy schedule and making yourself available for this quick interview on your FE electrical and computer exam preparation journey, a successful FE electrical and computer exam preparation journey. So congratulations on that as well. Just very briefly, if you can guide us through your journey, when you graduated, and what motivated you to take the FE electrical and computer exam.
Yeah. Firstly, thank you. I graduated in 2018. I had done my undergrad in India in electrical engineering. And then immediately I'd come to do my master's at Carnegie Mellon. And I
Nice.
graduated.
That's a very good school. That's a very
Thank you.
good school.
Yeah, I did my master's in Carnegie Mellon. And then I graduated in 2019, December. And then I started working as an engineer, specifically like interconnection transmission engineer at a solar development company. So
Okay.
there, my managers who told me about this PE thing, I had absolutely no idea. Nobody at my grad school had told me what this PE license is. So my managers told me the benefit of it, why I should take it, how it'll help my career and everything. So, and then I started looking into the process and I realized the first step was taking the FE. I was planning to take it in 2020, but then since I had just graduated from master's, I wanted to take a break from studying. So I put it off for a whole year. And then when come 2021, I was just like, okay, I've put it off for too long. I kicked it in high gear. I studied for 2.5 months, about that much, pretty vigorously, and just gave the exam. I think I probably did something that people shouldn't do. I booked the date before I started studying. I was like dabbing here and there with like reading about the exam, the topics that will be in the exam. I got like one book and I was studying in and out for like 6 months. It was just not okay. I was studying like 1 hour in 1 week. So after that fiasco in the beginning, I was just like, enough. I booked my date and then I started studying. So that's what I did.
So a couple of things over there. The fact that you graduated in 2018 from your undergraduate, I believe, and then 2019 from your that obviously graduate school, that obviously helped you, but you still took the exam a couple of years out of school, right? And not until you really got to learn from your seniors about the value of the PE license, right?
Yeah.
So this is one of the things that I noticed in a lot of recent graduates, that very few recent graduates, I would say, unless their professors mention it to them or they have their seniors who are actually going through that fee, or sometimes some schools have a graduating requirement, but those are very far and few between. When they actually go on internships, if you're lucky enough to get an internship or a summer work done, basically see people who are PEs, right? And you would find them in a lot of lead technical positions, in a lot of managerial positions. And then you basically, when you get to work with these people, you'll find the value of the license. So the sooner that happens, the better off you'll be, because what generally happens, I would say 50% of the students who are taking my FE electrical course, using my resources, exam preparation resources, study guides, practice exams, and those who are registered in the PE power course, I would say 50% of them are at least 5 or 7 years out of school. Okay, I have a bunch of students who are 10 years out of school and even 15 years out of school. Now, the common thing is that a lot of these guys and girls are taking the FE exam in many cases and PE exam because it was very late in their career, relatively late in their career, that they found about the value of the license. Some of them are like, okay, Wasim, for me to get the next promotion, my boss is telling me I need to get the PE license or at least get started with the FE. So that was a good thing that happened. Now, in terms of the exam preparation resources, you mentioned that you started out so earlier in 2021 using some of the books, some of the resources. And then when did you come across my exam preparation resources, and what was the approach that you used for those 2.5 months that you mentioned?
Yeah, so I mean, I'm not sure if I should say this, but I started using the Lindbergh, Michael
Okay.
Lindbergh, I think, book to start with. And then it just had so much theory and barely any questions. I was just not feeling right about it. And so I started Googling. I went from just Googling, practice questions for the FE just to see how it is. And then that's when I came across your website. It was one of the first links which said lectures and questions. So I was just like, I wasn't sure initially if I want to actually get into that. But when I started my 2-month journey, after the first 15 days, I was just like, I need help. I need someone to actually go through the concepts which I have forgotten from undergrad to do that. And that's why the lectures were a game changer for me. If I just needed that, someone to like explain to me again the theory behind all of it. I mean, I haven't done electronics and JFETs and MOSFETs in 3 years. I have no idea if I look at a problem like, what is this thing doing? So, but the good thing was, since I just got out of school also, it didn't take too long. I didn't have to rewatch videos at all. Like, I just went through from the start to finish, and like wrote down notes, did all the questions that were after the each lecture, even the mini exams I did, which was very helpful. And then I had gotten your book before that. And
so that the third edition of the study guide at the back.
Yeah. So I got the Michael Lindbergh book and your third edition book, and I was studying the theory from the Lindbergh book. And then when I was trying to do the problems in your book, I was just like, this is not the same. Like, these two books are not on the same level. So that's when I realized that I need to change my studying. So my first full month was just going through all the lectures from beginning to end, making good notes, because there were things were explained very well. And it definitely helped that some of the tougher topics I was familiar with, and it was easy to understand. Electronics, digital. At work, I'm a power engineer, so was very comfortable with the power topics. Only circuits was a little, oh no, I don't remember anymore, kind of thing.
Yeah, because you take it generally in first year, second year of university, right? Although it shows up in third year and a little bit in fourth year, but yeah.
So like circuits were a little like I needed revision on. So I think your lectures were great to go through.
Thank you.
The explanation of the topics, because what I've realized from doing all these questions in the NCEES questions, yours, even after the exam, I realized that most of the questions are actually not tough. If you have a very good understanding of what the theory is, the questions are like 2 steps of solving. And
maybe 3 steps. You get only 3 minutes to solve, right? So they better be asking you questions that would take at least or under 3 minutes to solve, right? Otherwise it becomes difficult just to solve the exam.
Yeah, because when I was studying and going through practice questions, when I wouldn't get a question, like I wasn't able to do it on my own, I would flip to the answer and see. I was like, this is literally 2 steps. I just needed to know this one tiny concept, and if that actually like struck me, I would have solved this easily. So I think, like I said, the lectures were a game changer for sure. And then the last 2.5 weeks, I was done with all the lectures and I just wanted to focus on problems. So I went back to your book, redid all the questions, which I'd already done before, but I just didn't remember most of it again. So I redid all of that. And then again, I was just Googling for practice questions. So I came across Prep for FE. I think they only had questions. So I used that extensively only for the last 2 weeks. which was again helpful because they had some timed sections, and it had some good analysis at the end. It was telling me how much time I took for each question and how is my performance across different topics. So that was a good ender, or like a thing to end. And then again, I do not know if I recommend this to a lot of people. On the last day, before my exam, I went into your website and I did the afternoon and the evening session questions, the whole
The
exam. Yeah,
full length computer simulator practice exam. Yes.
exactly. Yeah, I did that. So it was good. Like I, for all, even from the FE prep for FE, I was averaging around 70 to 80% on all the exams. Even the that's what happened in the test simulator. So I was just like, close the laptop, and I was like, it's time to go to the test.
Yes. No, that's good. So, I mean, you utilize the resources that you had access to, okay, it seems like to their full potential. And you kept your exam preparation time frame to 2.5 months, which is generally not what I would recommend for a lot of people who are working full time, because it really burns you out, right? I mean, there's no doubt about it, because you're just working and studying, working and studying, working and studying. And in your case, you were pretty confident about your exam preparation in the sense that you only did one round of review for the entire course. I generally recommend 3 rounds of reviews, not to go through the entire course 3 times, but to go through the course in detail once, and then keep a list of things that are bugging you, your weak areas. So you pointed out circuits a couple of times, digital systems, electronics. And in your second round of review, you basically just review those items and then basically do the practice exams. So I have a bonus full-length computer simulated practice exam in the course, which you mentioned you did the night before. Again, I don't recommend doing it the night before, because it's bad.
No, yeah.
Yeah, it's good that you actually scored 70 to 80%. So you must be in the top 5 percentile, I would say, because generally the average score on my practice exams is much lower. So if you can draw confidence from your performance, that's good. But if it sort of shows that you're 50% or below, then it's not good for your confidence, right? So that's why I recommend taking the practice exams at least 1 to 2 weeks before the actual exam. That also gives you time to fix things that you identify. So that's it's I can clearly tell that you were doing immersive studying, active learning, and fully dedicated to the cause. Now, in terms of your day-to-day schedule, how were you able to manage your time? Because that's another question that a lot of my students have, or sometimes I don't know what's the right way of saying it, but sometimes that leads to procrastination, knowing that, okay, this is a side thing that I'm doing, right? So I'll just continue putting it off, or maybe I'll spend 1 hour here, 1 hour there. So how did you make sure that you were able to pack that nice punch in the 2.5 months and keep your focus and keep your motivation?
Like you said, I did procrastinate for a year and a half. But like after that, I had a lot of support from my team, where my workplace. The last 15 days before the exam, I told them that I have to study, so I'm going to take on less work, and they were completely fine about that. I was almost like gone the last week before the exam from work, because I was studying, and work from home was definitely easier, because while I was working at home, if I had a light day or a free sort of day, I would sit and watch lectures. If I didn't have something I was actively working on, like on my laptop screen from my work laptop, your lectures were open and I was sitting and studying.
And you don't have any commute as well.
Yeah, because work from home, right? I was writing notes on my iPad, so I just took a screenshot of it, and on daily sections, I was writing what I was going to study.
Right.
And mapped that out for the initial first month, where I was just doing my theory refresh. So I think my recommendation would be, I had good support from, I mean, if you have enough support from your work people, And with this work from home thing, I think it can be done in like 2 months. But if this was like 2019, I think I would easily need 4 months, because it's not easy going
Yes.
back home,
Yeah,
cook your food and
exactly.
like going to study and then waking up the next day. That's hard, but I think I had it easier. I took on less work and I studied
Yeah.
simultaneously during the day.
Yeah. So I personally don't recommend anyone to try and do this within 2 months or 2.5 months. I've had students who did it in 3 weeks as well. And they actually said that, you know what, it's not worth it. The amount of stress that you get. Well, it's worth it if you end up passing the exam. So unfortunately, like if you take it and you fail, I mean, it will leave
Right.
psychological,
Oh yeah, for sure.
scarring.
I mean, I
So
was very sure that if I didn't pass, I'm not going to take it again.
yeah, so you
Because,
don't want to be in that situation because
yeah,
then you
I
give
studied.
up, right?
I
Exactly.
studied so much that I was just like, I do not want to study again and
Yes.
go through this whole thing. So yes, I think take your time and definitely do it. It's um I feel like I procrastinated a lot, and everybody needs to figure out what works for themselves. I think
Exactly. That's
I
the
work,
key.
I work fine. I work well under pressure.
Right.
So it was needed for me. I had to, tell myself that this is do or die situation. Just do
Right.
it.
Good. Okay.
And
So,
yeah.
sorry, go ahead. Yeah. Yeah. So moving on to time management during the exam, what was your approach? Were you able to finish the exam just in time, or you left yourself a healthy like 10, 15 minutes for review? What was your tech? How did you approach it?
Um, the first section, I think both the sections were panned out the same for me. I had about 15 minutes left towards the end to go back and review, and 15-20 minutes to see the problems that I had flagged for review. And
And
I
how
think
many problems roughly were you flagging in the first one?
in the first, I remember the second one, I had flagged exactly 8 problems in the second
That's
one, and
not bad. That's pretty good.
same amount in the first one.
And you had about 15 minutes to tackle them.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah. My I mean, if I knew how to solve the problem, I was just like on fire. I was like,
Okay.
I'm not taking the whole 3 minutes. I will take like 30 seconds if I need to solve this problem and move
Right.
on, because I can use the
That's
time
good.
elsewhere. So I think time management is required. If I hadn't practiced with time, I think I'd be in a tough spot.
And you
So
did a bunch of problems, right? There are about 1,000 problems, give or take, within the FE electrical course, and 700 plus practice problems in the study guide. Then you also used Prep FE, and you were using the other resources as well. So give or take, you had at least 2,000 problems under your belt, right? So if you've got plus the NCEES sample exam, apparently you did that as well. So you were definitely very proficient, and that's what I recommend students, right? Do as much practice problems, but I strongly agree with your initial point, initial assessment, that it's not just about doing a bunch of practice problems. You need to understand the concept, because if the question is asked left, right, and center, if you don't know what that core thing
yeah,
that's being asked, there's no way you're going to be able to solve it. You're going to just run in circles and waste your
yeah,
time, right?
yeah.
That's good. Uh, and and my last question is, uh, how did you tackle or how did you prepare yourself for your weak areas? You've already mentioned circuits, electronics. I think those were relatively easy to learn because you have already done them in school.
Mhm.
But the question I get from students is, okay, Wasim, I'm a power systems engineer. I don't give a damn about software or computer networks. I'm never going to study that, right? Or sorry, use it at my job, and it's very boring for me to learn it, right? Some students say, okay, Wasim, can I skip it? My recommendation is never to skip it. So let me know how you approach those sections, the ones at
Uh,
the end.
I think in your study guide, the weightage of different topics are mentioned.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
in the NCEES specification as well. It's
right.
not a secret,
No, no, I
right?
know that, but
Yes.
that's where I got it from. That's where I saw it for the first time, and I divided all the topics between weightage wise and then the difficulty wise, and I circled
Okay.
all the topics that I was sure that I was going to be fine with. I knew digital electronics, digital systems were
Systems,
going to be a walk in the park because I was great in school with it. I
Good.
knew that even electronics would be fine. I knew all the electrical topics would be like in my bag. I knew if I studied them once, I'd be completely fine with them.
Yeah.
I needed, this is probably come as a surprise, but I think throughout the entire prep, I was just terrible at the engineering and engineering economics. I was
Okay.
just not getting it, but I that is something I did not skip. So I practiced harder to get that
Right.
right. Even the ethics here and there, I was just like in two minds that, it's light weightage, maybe I should skip it, but then I realized it's an easy topic, so I should definitely try and get the points. So if the topic was easy, and even if it had less weightage, I was just like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to try a little extra and do it. But when it came to topics that were hard and it would require me to do everything from scratch, like computer systems, all the memory stuff,
Yeah.
I would,
Networks, software,
networks, that even the
even some of controls, I would say.
stuff. Yeah. So I was just like, I'm just going to learn this by doing practice problems. Like I'll
Okay.
do the problem. If I don't get it, I'll see the solution. I'll like make a note of it. I did a ton of notes down. So my last few days was just going over it and revising it. That is
Okay.
notes from the lectures, any extra points I got. Like I got from not being able to solve some problems, and then, seeing that theory, like, okay, I need to remember this. So I wrote it down. So all the notes I accumulated, I was revising constantly over the last 1 week. Whenever I got time, I would just
Okay.
sit on my couch and just keep reading it. Like,
Yes.
just keep
That's the
reading.
mindset you have to be in. Remember, like if you want to do it in like 2 months, 2.5 months, 3 weeks, or whatever it is, you're not gonna have a life. That's what you get. It will just occupy you 24/7, right? And if it is something that you can live with and you can compress it and be done with it, hopefully, then yeah, sure, go ahead. But if you want to keep other things in the life on the go, that's
Yeah,
not advisable. So
yeah.
what I understood is that you didn't skip anything. That's the first takeaway,
No, not
right?
completely. No, no,
So don't skip anything.
no.
Things that are easy and will take time, get them done, right? So you took a pretty smart approach, I would say, a very strategic approach. That things that had to be done, you did it, right? And things that required a lot of effort, but the reward ratio was low, you sort of still went through it, uh, used your notes and whatnot, did some practice problems, but did not completely ignore them. And I
Yep.
think that's the key. That for those of you who want to skip computer sections just because you haven't taken any courses or you don't like them, it's a very risky proposition. It might work if you do superb in the rest of the exam, but it's not a surefire way of passing the exam.
Yeah, and it was not the entire computer section, the software part of it. I was pretty confident about that because I have a little experience with the software side. So the pseudocodes or the flowcharts and
Mhm.
even the sorting and searching algorithms, I was fine with that. I was fine with most of the computer system parts also, but it's just the networks. It was so big and so vast.
And
And
just 4 to 5 questions according to the
yeah, and I was just like,
specification.
I'll keep the basics in my head, but I don't want to really get into the security and everything.
Yes, sounds
So
good. All right, Daksha, thanks a lot for your time. I
yeah,
really appreciate it. It was interesting discussion. And once again, congratulations on this major career achievement.
thank you.
Uh, you still have a lot of career ahead of you, and maybe 20 years down the road, you're going to look back at it and say that, you know what, this was a good decision.
Yeah,
And
I already think it was a good decision. It was a step in the right direction.
good. And I look forward to seeing you in the PE Power course and helping you go through the entire journey. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. See ya. Thank you so much.